Good afternoon. Welcome everybody to this session where Professor Christian Hummert and me will talk about how we build an effective ARPA-style approach in Europe to fund breakthrough innovation. My name is Annemarie Sassen and I'm the head of unit of the EIC Program Manager's Office. Already now in the EIC we have 10 program managers and their role is in many ways similar as the ARPA program managers. So they proactively manage projects in the EIC, and they especially focus on helping the projects go to the market. And they are also the ones who have a vision about where Europe should invest in the future. And that translates to the challenges that we have in the EIC work program. So the EIC Board of Advisors and also the Draghi report, they called for the EIC in FP10 to become more ARPA-like. And we are already therefore now putting up a pilot in the work program of 2026, which we call Advanced Innovation Challenges. And that is a new instrument that will focus on deep tech innovations, of course, just like all the research in EIC, but they are very demand-driven and they will consist of milestone-based stage funding, like in ARPA. So that is our way to try to be more ARPA-like. Professor Christian Hummert, the scientific director of Germany's Cyberagentur, he already has experience with demand-driven staged funding, already since 2021. And today I will ask him questions about what it takes to be successful. At the end of the session, after 20 minutes, you will also get the opportunity to ask questions to Professor Hummert and me about the session. But before we start talking about ARPA, I want to ask to Professor Hummert to briefly introduce Cyberagentur.
Okay, thank you very much, Annemarie. So Cyberagentur is a German governmental agency. We had our 5th birthday 2 weeks ago, and we use governmental money from the German Ministry of Defense and German Ministry of Interior to fund research, and we fund research which is dual use, which is connected to cybersecurity, which has a high risk of failure. So we like high risk, high demand research, and we like low TRL research, so we fund TRL 1 to 4.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we switch to the ARPA elements of your work. Just for everybody to be on the same page, in ARPA, 2 of the main elements are that they give a lot of autonomy to program managers to, first of all, design a program, to develop a technology that addresses a clear need. So there are users who are interested in that, and where a targeted investment can make a difference. And the second element of an ARPA model is that the program managers, they have autonomy to select the projects and to proactively manage each project. And then they use specific technical milestones and time commitments. And program managers can then stop the unsuccessful projects and redirect the funding to successful ones. So program managers design challenges. So the key to success for good innovation seems to be the choice of a proper challenge. And Christian, how did you define your first challenge in Cyberagentur?
Okay, so when I think back of our first challenge, it was a challenge about securing critical infrastructures against cyber attacks. So we want to reach something like intelligent firewalls, which will not only detect cyber attacks, but learn from other firewalls and other critical infrastructure and try to prevent them, which will be a more intelligent approach we doesn't have worldwide so far. So what's important is, it's really important to have these low TRL levels, because then something can happen that really can change the world. So if we have such firewalls, all existing firewalls will be replaced, so it's really disruptive. I think it's very important to see that research is always the combination of different scientific regions, so it's interdisciplinary. We use procurement for funding our research, and we like innovative procurement, like the PCP, pre-commercial procurement of the EU, because I really believe in competition, and I think research doesn't have enough competition right now. And we believe in building ecosystems, so not only fund the research, but build an ecosystem around this research so it can really live there and prosper and widen up.
Yeah, so low TRL, interdisciplinary, pre-commercial procurement. But another important element is the end user. So you also need end users to be interested in the innovation that you make and to help define the program so that you really have something relevant for them. How do you do that?
So we have a lot of end user engagement. So Cyberagentur is from the Defense and Interior Ministry. So we have a big customer behind us, which is the German army, the Bundeswehr, and we also have all the agencies of the Ministry of Interior, which is the police, but also the BSI, which is the German ENISA. So we really involve these end users not only in selecting the challenges, because addressing their needs, but also in the evaluation of the project. So we have them within the jury, we have them within the program management, so that they can closely be part of the project and make sure that we have research which is really needed and not research which will end in a library.
So they are involved, let's say, all the time with these projects. And how do you the self-learning firewalls sounds fascinating. How did you come to that topic? What is your way of, let's say, predicting the future, that is something that is needed?
So my largest group in my agency is called Innovation Management, and they try to develop this crystal ball method, and they go like 3 ways. And the first way is qualitative. So we did like 400 interviews per year and ask experts and ask them questions like, so if I just give you money but I don't give you a topic, what would you research in? Or if I forbid you to do your research you do now anymore, which field would you change to? Then we have like a quantitative way. We do a lot of text mining in scientific publications and see where are trends, in which fields we have more publications or less publications. And we have like a creative way. We do a lot of landscaping, startup landscaping, both regional or in topics, and see where venture capital goes, in which technological fields we have startups. And this is kind of very different between countries. So we have a completely different startup ecosystem in France and in Germany. And then you can ask questions like, why is it this way? And should I focus my next challenge on France because everybody can get our money in Europe? Or should we focus this challenge more on Germany?
So you have more processes in place by which you can collect the intelligence that you need, instead of that you would rely on program managers who would have a bright vision, let's say. That's how you define challenges.
Yeah, that's true. So both is a good idea. So we have these strong program managers in organizations like the ARPA or within Europe in the UK ARIA, and they have fantastic programs. And this scales up very good because you have these program managers who have a lot of responsibility and select programs they believe in. But the disadvantage is that you have a double risk. So we fund high risk research, so there's already a high risk that the research fails, and you also gain a risk that the program manager has chosen the wrong challenge. So if you have a more process-orientated approach, you get slower because you have like more test milestones, quality gates for your challenges to be started. But in the end, I believe that the chance to have a better challenge is higher because you have more experts involved in creating a challenge than rely on a single person.
Very interesting. I would like to move now to what can go wrong, because we know with very risky research and also with entrepreneurship, we can also learn a lot from failures that happened. So I can imagine that the relatively long time between challenge formulation and the availability of the final innovation, that it can easily happen that the innovation that you had in mind in the beginning is already outdated by the time that it is developed, or that there are competitors on the market which have a better product. Did you ever encounter such a situation, and how could this be avoided?
So CyberAgentur has 109 people working for me, and half of them are scientists, and their only job is to take action for this case. So what we do is we have a very close project management. Today we have with every single company or university which takes money from us, we have a touch point once per month and ask them stupid questions. So why are you doing this research? Why are you going this way? Wouldn't it be better to go that way? And we visit them in their site every 3 months. So this is very close that we can see what happened, and we also can scan the world around them and see what's happening there. So I think it's just not enough to give funding for research and then wait 3 years and let them write a report in the end. This is just not close enough monitoring, and then these things will happen as you described. I'm very happy that I did not have this case so far.
Yeah, no, very good. So the key is this close monitoring and really being involved, and ask questions all the time, and to fully understand what's happening. You also, with pre-commercial procurement, there's also the model of competition, and also the model of competition of pre-commercial procurement. You start maybe with 10 projects and then 5 continue. This is also what we will do with the Advanced Innovation Challenges. But is it always clear which project should be stopped and which one should continue? Can you tell us a bit your experience with that, and how do you make those decisions?
For example, for this critical infrastructure project, we started with 10 consortia getting a bit money of us for half a year, and then we selected 6, and then we selected 3, and after 3 more years we will select only 1. So they are always in a competition, and this is really something new, and especially the universities had to feel comfortable with this because it's new for them. And of course it's really a difficult decision who goes to the next round and who not. We want to fund high-risk research, so it's maybe not the best decision to let this consortium go into the next round who did all the milestones, because maybe they just did more incremental research and just getting in slow steps better, but we are waiting for something really new. So maybe it's sometimes better to choose this team who really has an idea which is not as probable to be successful, but if it works, then it will really change something. And of course, it's a difficult process to see, is this a team we still believe in or not? And it's also a very painful process. So in this project, when we got from 3 participants to 2, there were tears not only in the participants but also in our program managers, because they were really close together and worked together on this project for already 2 years. But happily we threw them out, and a new investor came and funded them and made them a product. And this is something which is also a compliment for our work, because even if it's maybe not disruptive, it was a good product, so it has been funded by another agency.
Okay, so the milestones alone is not enough, because there can be projects who meet the milestones but who don't have the, let's say, the disruptive nature or something else. And so you really need to look at all kinds of aspects of the project to understand which one is the better to continue. And then what I also hear you say, that there's also hope for the projects who are stopped because they might also have developed something good and other investors might be interested in that. That's good to know. I would like to talk. I'd also like to ask you the question: what are other mistakes to avoid, or other aspects that we need to take into account? For instance, regarding IP, or if we go to dual use.
Okay, it's a twofold question. So this IP, so we do procurement with PCP. So in the end, we own part of the IP. And in the beginning, this was not very popular with companies or universities. Now it's very popular with the companies and universities. First of all, if a startup gets procurement from us, and in our backs there's the big German army, the Bundeswehr, which is one of the biggest and most complicated customers you can have in Germany, and if you have already a contract with them, you will immediately get venture capital. So if they get a contract with us, within 1 or 3 weeks, they will get venture capital from other sides. So procurement is better than funding for startups. The second thing is this co-ownership of IP. It secures the startups to be bought from investors in countries which are considered to be our contrahents. Because they can still buy the startup, but they cannot buy the IP because it's owned by the Federal Republic of Germany. So it's kind of a shield to protect them to be bought from companies they do not want to be bought of. On the other hand, of course, we can allow the IP to be sold in these cases where we find the buyer of the company interesting or trustworthy, or in the case where we consider this IP not as relevant as for security reasons. And I think this is maybe the most difficult thing for dual-use research. Europe is really, really bad in research security. We have excellent research here, and often we buy products that are developed with technologies from our research from China or from the US. So we need to be better to secure this research within Europe. And we have relatively strict things in our contract, like a minimum requirement on cybersecurity, like don't have PhDs from a certain country list, don't have any corporations with this list of universities, and secure IP that you have. And you can't do dual-use research if you don't think about research security, but because this is really security-related research.
Thank you very much. I think there's a session about dual use in parallel to ours. But it's very good to keep all of that in mind, because most likely in the future we will also be funding dual use research. Finally, I would like, so you have said that in your case, so you have a customer in your back, which is the German army. You can work with pre-commercial procurement because you have the customer and you procure the things for the army. But we don't have that in the EIC, so we work on all fields. We don't have the final customer very, very close to us. We don't own IP also. So I want to ask if you were in my place, what would be important? That how can I translate those elements to what we can do in the EIC?
Okay, so I think the EIC has three main challenges right now. One is the scale up. I think the budget of the EIC tripled to this year and it will still grow. The second one is the change of domains because the EIC will also open for dual use research, and the third one is new methods. And I think you already have found a new methods with program managers in these advanced innovation challenges. And I think this new method will answer the first question, the scale up, because you can be really fast with this new method and this program managers. The second question, to open up for dual use research, I think you have to think about research security and you have to think about owning patents. So I believe in European integration, and European is a fantastic continent with lots of money, intelligent people and brilliant companies. So why can the EU Commission do not hold patents? So the federal government of Germany couldn't hold them also for the last 60 years. They needed to fund an agency like Cyberagentur in 2020 to hold patents. I think the EU can do this also.
Thank you very much, Christian, for all your advice. I would now like to use the last minutes to get some questions from the audience, if you have them. I see a question over there.
Hello, thank you for the very interesting discussion. My name is Paul Walsh. I'm with the European Association for Innovation Consultants. When we talk about ARPA, it's obviously a prevalent topic now, but the other topic that's quite prevalent is the need to reduce administration and transaction costs. It seems like the ARPA model will be more resource intensive on the funder side. So do we need to just bite the bullet on this and say, if we want something like ARPA, we're going to need the European Commission to allocate more resources for program managers and administrators?
Should I answer on this? I think it's two-folded. Of course, government and regulation have to change. So one thing Cyberagentur faces in its early years was something like that the German government and the agencies do not trust us, and they looked on everything and please write a report on this and write a report on this and fill out an Excel form for this. And this is bureaucracy, and it's really a problem, and we need to get rid of this. And if we don't get rid of this, we can forget about research, because bureaucracy is killing research. But the second thing is also the researchers have to change. So if we came up with a new model and we say, oh, please, you have to be competitive, you have to share our patents. So most of the researchers were like, oh, no, I don't take your money. And there are still lots of researchers who say, oh, no, it's more easy to write in Horizon or in German Federal Ministry of Research appointment to get money. So I think we all have to change a bit, and then it can go, and I think we can also use money more efficient than we do today.
Yeah, we also hope that with the advanced innovation challenges, that for the researchers, that it becomes less bureaucracy, so that we have, because we are milestone based, we will judge milestones, and we will not, expect many lengthy reports. Still few, but not too many, we hope. But of course, what you also heard is that in Cyberagentur, every month there is a meeting and the milestones are followed up. So there is a lot of close collaboration in order that there can be really this knowledge about the project.
But there's only a meeting. It's just 1 hour Teams call. There's not a report. We have just a report once per year. I don't want you to write down all this stuff and answer stupid questions, but I want you to have a Teams call with me so I know what you're doing. And this is something completely different.
I think you had a question, but I don't know if you have the microphone. And else I don't see anymore where the microphone is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. This is very, very interesting. I think the overwhelming number of attendants to this event today is a strong sign of fundamental desire the community has for novel perspectives. The concept of ARPA, which you are touching upon, is one of such novel approaches which should be very, very welcome. My thought on this is not so interesting, but I have another idea which I would like to raise. One of the novel perspectives might be on the methodological side of doing research and innovation, meaning that the combination of the legacy epistemical research and the, let's say, more new empirical research into a concept of hybrid competence could be fostered and supported much more focused and much more explicitly than just letting it to the part of the scientists. Can you imagine that such a, let's call it concept, might be subject to funding?
You want, or I should?
Maybe.
Okay, I can start maybe. I think it's not a good idea to rely on super tankers. So we need speedboats. So it's not a good idea to have one funding agency doing all the funding. I think it's good to have an ecosystem of different funding, and we have like the Horizon projects in the REA, and we have these BMBF, and we have private money for funding, and we have these ARPA-like agencies. And don't do the mistake and build one huge agency again with 2,000 officials working there and signing contracts. This will not work. Have small, different approaches so a researcher can select which approach fits him the best or her the best.
Yes, but you don't have a microphone, or there it is.
Paul Rübig from the European Economic and Social Committee. My question is about the data protection, which we did now a long time, but now we come in the next stage of the data ownership. So how do you think we can protect our data and the ownership of our data by commercial use? Can we have license agreements which can protect us with blockchain or something like this? Because all our data is going out of Europe, and we have no benefit of it at some stage.
Okay, it's an interesting question, but it's only a little related to my work because I'm a research funder. But what I can tell you is that it's very important if you have a technological project to also have some social aspects. So in every project or every challenge we rise, we always have requirements on think about data protection, think about privacy by design, think about security by design, think about what can happen with the technology. So interdisciplinarity is really an answer. So if you bring different people together and having them in coffee together, there will be the most brilliant ideas. So think these from the beginning. Don't develop a technology and in the end you see, oh, where's all my data? So try to think about this before you develop a technology. And this is really important to have this social aspects integrated in projects.
Yeah. We still have 11 seconds, so maybe a very quick last question. Yeah.
Hi, and thank you for the discussion about ARPA. Professor Hummert, I'm the founder of a social media platform for projects that I'm building right now. It's in the early stages. I want to enable global collaboration on projects instead of the current social media that we have, which are passive focused, like reactions, likes, etc. My question is, in ARPA, how do you measure impact? And how would you advise a global platform to measure impact at scale? Like impact of any project. How would you measure that? Is there a taxonomy or?
I wouldn't say if you don't really feel the impact, then it was the wrong project. If you need to measure small steps of impact, then this wasn't high risk, high gain research. When you had the correct project, you will feel it because everybody will have it in their pocket. Smartphone was an invention which had really impact. And the next big thing, you will know what it is. You will read it in every newspaper.
So there's no way to standardize
Yes.
impact metrics at scale?
Ask someone from the research European agency, because they have these impact sessions, write 25 pages on how your project will impact, and you have all these tables, and I think they have an intelligent method, but I don't believe in it. But this is just my personal opinion.
No, I mean, to measure impact is of course very difficult, and we try with all kinds of proxies like number of patents, valuation of the companies we are supporting. So we want to, for instance, as the EIC, we want to create unicorns, so we try to find who are the unicorns and we count them. And so we have an impact report every year, and we have then indeed 30 pages of impact, but also also success stories. It gives a view on the type of things that the EIC funds, and yeah. And for instance, one thing where we're very proud of as impact is also that €1 we invest with our public money. Already we get €4 of private money. And we think that that's very important because we are there to fund the gap in finance. And so with that we see it works. So yeah, it are always proxies on impact. So this is the end of the session. I want to thank you all very much for listening. And of course, I want to ask
Thank you very much.
Christian, thank you very much for your insights.
No problem.
And,